Hello and welcome to Camp Xtras. Today I'm taking a look at Fear the Spotlight. This is a horror game published by Blumhouse Games and developed by Cozy Game Pals. I was interested in this one because of its ties to Blumhouse and my love for classic PS1 horror titles like Silent Hill. I recently picked it up as part of a bundle, and let me tell you about my experience with it. Fear the Spotlight is a PS1 style game, obviously riffing on the Silent Hill series, and I have zero problems with that, as this series is one of my favorites of all time, and I'm happy to return to that feeling. Here it's captured in the jaggedness of the polygons and how everything is rendered. Signs are illegible until you read them in a dialogue box, horizons are foggy and vague, yet they manage to pack a lot of detail into everything, making this game world fun to explore. It invokes that feeling of the era, but doesn't feel like it limits itself at all. What's fun here is that you follow two characters, Vivian and Amy. You first play through the whole game as Vivian. The story starts by you two deciding to pull a seance at your school, which had a history of a fire that killed many students. They're both having some fun until they're both transported to an alternate horrible reality. In Vivian's story, you explore the school trying to find Amy. You collect notes to learn about a secret romance and bullying going on at the school. I was surprised by just how dark this plot got in the notes, even though I feel like the writing on these notes are not as vague as I wanted, and it tries to explain way too much. I found the actual dialogue and voice acting here to be much better though. The school exploration has you unlocking your way to the theater. Here you solve puzzles of a bunch of different types. Sometimes you're collecting items to unlock doors, or you're unlocking a box using a poem. I don't think any of the puzzles are tough, but they all were solid without a dud in the mix. For the most part, this is an exploration game asking you to look around and collect items, but the horror comes from the spotlight enemy. This is a man with a spotlight head that will hurt you whenever you're shined upon. I found Vivian's storyline overall to be very easy to run from him though, so I never felt the fear overall. Personally, the chapter section where you follow Amy was much better, plot and gameplay wise. In Amy's story, you are transported back to her childhood house. Much like the other story, you explore and collect items to solve puzzles, yet here I really loved the exploration. With it being in such a tight space, it felt cramped, but it did have good detail. Backtracking here and discovering new routes was very rewarding. Not only that, but I connected more to the family story where they're on the brink of a collapse, and it felt far more interesting. The notes didn't feel as exposition heavy. Not only that, but this section was scarier. I found the lady in the water to be better handled. Here she roams around the house and will follow you room to room if caught. Oftentimes, she appears suddenly in doorways and will give you a nice startle. It works well with the cramped level design, making you feel like you have nowhere to run, and it really hits that horror angle well. One nice thing here too is that it's a fairly short experience, coming in at only 4 hours long. I thought it was the perfect length for this kind of experience, never overstaying its welcome and hitting its story beats well. I think it helps to give this game a nice feel, and I just like a short game sometimes. Controls and looks wise, it hits that PS1 feeling. I don't think it's riveting the whole time, and I wouldn't go back and replay it, but for one time through though, I quite enjoyed it. I especially liked Amy's storyline and would have loved to seen that explored more, especially the house level design. I've seen this one go on sale a lot, and it's in a bundle on Fanatical right now, as well as available on consoles, and I was pretty happy with my purchase. If you like classic horror games, I can definitely recommend checking this one out. If you enjoyed this little review, be sure to leave a like, it really helps me out in the algorithm. Subscribe to keep up with more videos like this, and check out my main channel, Camp Xbox, for just retro Xbox videos, and I'll see you here next time at Camp Xtras.